Welcome back to BYoungMinistry.com, to another blog and to another podcast. Today we continue in our study in the Gospel of Mark. We're in chapter 6, verses 30 through 34, which reads, "The apostles gathered around Jesus and told him about all the things they had done and taught. Crowds of people were coming and going so that Jesus and his followers did not even have time to eat. He said to them, 'Come away by yourselves, and we will go to a lonely place to get some rest.' So they went in a boat by themselves to a lonely place. But many people saw them leave and recognized them. So, from all the towns they ran to the place where Jesus was going, and they got there before him. When he arrived, he saw a great crowd waiting. He felt sorry for them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began to teach them many things." That's Mark chapter 6, verses 30 through 34. Today we return to our study of Mark 6, where the Lord Jesus has been training the disciples in his culture. In addition, the Lord Jesus has been preaching the gospel and healing the sick. The disciples had just returned from their overnight witnessing excursions into the nearby towns and cities, and they were eager to tell the Lord Jesus about their ministry. They were also in great need of rest. In verses 30 through 32 of today's passage, we read, "The apostles gathered around Jesus and told him about all the things they had done and taught. Crowds of people were coming and going so that Jesus and his followers did not even have time to eat. He said to them, 'Come away by yourselves, and we will go to a lonely place to get some rest.' So they went in a boat by themselves to a lonely place." All of mankind's problems emerge out of the rebellion of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, which resulted in mankind being separated from a personal relationship with God. Returning to God is the key to all of life. When Adam and Eve rebelled, they were separated from the very source of life, truth, purpose, and meaning. The enemy would lead us to believe the Lord has cast us off due to our sinfulness and subsequent brokenness. This is not so. God desired to provide for us a personal relationship with himself, so much that he sent his Son to pay the debt created by our rebellion and sinfulness. This, of course, is not for his benefit, for he is holy and lacking nothing. He desires this for our benefit, and like the disciples, we do nothing of real value until we return to the Lord Jesus. Believe it or not, the greatest risk for falling or stumbling for the Christian is right after experiencing great success in something. When we are successful, there is the danger and tendency to believe that the success came from our own efforts and not from God. When we see great accomplishments in and through our lives, we tend to start relying on ourselves and not on God. This, as a result, robs glory from God, because ultimately everything that happens in our lives is the result of his loving and sovereign care over us. It is clear the Lord Jesus recognized this as a period of great danger for the disciples. This is why he hurried them away from their successes. Our greatest threat is not found in defeat, but from victory. In defeat, at least we're humbled and forced to look to God and to depend upon him. Success makes us look in the mirror itself, but our struggles are more likely to make us look to God. When we have success, we can easily overinflate or overestimate ourselves. And when we do this, we subtly go the way of the enemy without even knowing it. In addition, the Lord knew the disciples needed to eat and get some much needed rest, so that they could process what had happened in and through them. In all of this, the Lord was training them to become learners. The word disciple means learner. We cannot be disciples of Christ without learning of and from Him. All leaders must first be disciples. The moment we stop learning is the moment we stop leading. The Lord Jesus sent out these low-educated men who did not by any means understand the fullness of the message they were preaching, and who really had no idea what they were doing. In spite of this, the Lord Jesus sent them out, and the message made them a success. In verses 33 and 34 of today's passage, we read, "But many people saw them leave and recognized them. So from all the towns they ran to the place where Jesus was going, and they got there before him. When he arrived, he saw a great crowd waiting. He felt sorry for them, because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began to teach them many things." The people were so hungry they ran 8 miles around the northern end of the lake to get to the Lord Jesus. In fact, they ran so fast they arrived at the other side before he and his disciples got there, even though he had taken a boat to make the 4-mile trip across the lake. Sadly, most of the people there were hungry for the wrong thing. This is our deliberation each and every day. We must be careful that we are hungering for the Lord and His culture, which is largely discovered in His Word. But the process of developing this hunger for the Lord is not so easy. It involves a lot of patience, time, and pain. Our appetites dictate the direction of our lives. However, we most often do not recognize what it means to hunger for the Lord. Our hunger for Him is missed because it comes in that empty feeling that we all know. When we learn through this sense of longing to reach out to Him, it is then that we are learning what it means to hunger for Him. The problem comes when we frantically start looking to the wrong things to fill up this emptiness. When we do so, we sadly discover we have missed a golden opportunity to refine our ability to hunger for Him. But this does not have to be the end of the story. Resisting the desire to free ourselves from the emptiness and the loneliness, and through the emptiness and loneliness we learn to cry out to Him for His presence in our lives, is the first step in growing in this way. And the more we do it, the more of a habit it will become. And then we will discover what it means to hunger for Him. My friends, I trust this blog and this podcast are helpful to you in your walk with the Lord. If I can be of further assistance to you, don't hesitate to shoot me an email at BYoungMinistry@gmail.com. Hey, have a great